Hello friends, welcome back. Welcome to another day of World Watercolor Month, and today is day 22. And for today I have a basket, well, it's a container with the apples. And I'm using for that this container in here. This is a pail. And I'm using also the apples from this other set, 5059. I stamped the apples right here in the middle. I put a piece of tape to mask the pail. And then I use my colored pencils to draw one on either side because they were kind of missing something in there. So let's work on this. We're also gonna add a little bit of a grass, and you know how I always do it. Right, so let's pull the colors in here. I stamped this one on the two colors, blue and brown. And sometimes I like to intentionally add the blue after. And this is what I did in this case. I added the blue after. And I did not stamp off the stamp in here. Why? Because I want to use the same two colors. I'm not going to color this. The two colors is what I'm using in here. So I should be able to pull enough colors from this mix to color this in here, that my intention is that there is going to be like gray with the indents in here, kind of an indentation of the same thing. So I'm pulling more color from the edges and leaving the center lighter, just to help with the shape. The bottom, the base, I'm gonna make it dark. Let's get a little bit of a color from here. Mix these colors in here just to get this one a little darker. You know, I like to mix colors. Markers or paint, whatever I'm using, I always like to mix colors. There's like these little buttons in here. Right, so for the apples, I stamped the apples using the red and the green. The red that I use is 856 and the green is the 177. And I'm going to start pulling the colors. And I'm definitely going to need more. Pulling into the apple. And I'm going to skip the next one until that one gets a little drier, so the color doesn't run into each other. Well, it will anyway, but just trying to avoid that. Leaving the center a little highlight. Let's do this one now, this one in here. Okay. And these were watercolor pencils, so yeah, I can pull the color from there as well. Okay. And let's add some of this color somewhere in here. My palette has so many colors. It just helps with getting a richer color. So let's bring more of the red. Like I always do, I go with the sides and then I get a little extra water to blend those in. It's an apple, it's round. I'm leaving a little bit of a white thing on the top. But if not, that's okay, because we can use bleed-proof white to give it like a little mark in there. That I did not put that much. Didn't leave enough in there. I'm gonna leave that in there. And you can tell that my apple looks a little flat because the colors it was too even. So what I can do is clean my brush, a little water in here, and I always have towel, paper towel or a towel, whatever you have will work, to pull the color. This is watercolor. You can add the color, you can pull the color, especially if you don't wait too long. Let's continue with this. This is kind of too big of a brush for this. This is a 4. Right. Let me switch my brush. Get something smaller in here. That's much better, more control. Bring it in. Let's make this one a little more rounded. Can leave the center lighter or without color, and then clean your brush and then blend. Go back and we add more details. Still have 2 more in here. Let's put the base in. I had a big missing spot in there. And with the apples, you see when we bring the twin tone, how everything comes to life. Again, if you want to pull more color, get some water, get your rag. With the red, you probably have to go a few times if you want a very, very intense red. Let's fix this one in here. It looks like a little awkward. Right. And I'm gonna add the details on the leaves. I stamped those in green, but they're not gonna show that much, so I'm gonna add a little extra color. And I'm gonna add the color kind of on the bottom because I already pulled a little bit of color from the stamp. So if I add the color now on the bottom, it kind of look more like 3D. This one is a little darker. Let's pull that color out. Cool, got it. Right. So let's fix now this border in here. I have one apple that wants to jump out and I'm gonna use the 565 to add a little bit of shadow under that little lip in here. And on that corner, right? And I can add a little more shadows. In here as well. Well, let's add a little the grass. And then we finish the details of the apples. Should have put a few apples on the ground. Too late. Maybe for the next one. Pull the color out. And you can pull from the grass, like I always do, in here. And let's add a little bit of the .565 as a shadow in there. So let's work on the apples in here, a little bit of details that I'm gonna do with the twin tones. And I have red and I have brown in here. And the very thin tip to define some of the shapes. Not drawing everything, just little strokes in certain areas where they go one on top of the other one. And I'm going to do the same in here. In this case, here where I have these two apples in front of the other one. Let's do the same in here and in here for this one. And the other thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a where the stem that is here is the stem. A little bit on the bottom, the stem. Right. And I'm just drawing the stem in here. And because this is also watercolor, the twin tone, you can come back and soften those lines, make them look a little more natural. Let's fix this apple in here. Oh, I forgot the stem for that one. And I'm going to do one more thing in here with these apples, and it's to add, you either add more red, another layer of red, and then make it darker and keep adding, and don't add to those areas where you want to keep the light. You can do that. but then this video will be too long. Because then I will be adding and adding and adding layers after layers. That's what I would normally do if I'm painting something dedicated the time that this will need. But what I'm gonna do is, since I kind of forgot to leave the extra spot, then I'm gonna add it in there. Don't do the same for everyone. It's like I'm putting 2-in-1s in here, depending where they are. This one gets more light in the front. And let's add a little bit of a blue in here. Let's see which blue I have in here. I should be able to get a nice, kind of a purplish. That's a pretty one. I like it. And a little extra water because it's kind of intense. All right, and this is it. This will have all blue around. Oops. Let's clean that quick. Let's be quick. Those type of accidents happens. I don't process my videos. This is what it is. They're in real time. And I just finished this one, so let's sign this one. And hope you like it, and I'll see you tomorrow with another one. Bye.